Hello. We are joined today by Tiphaine Monange, who is based in Lyon and is a UX strategist. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thanks for joining me. I know you from Twitter, where you have this fantastic, I think you have the top 10 most fantastic Twitter handles ever, which is the notorious Bigre, which I will let people Google later. And you have a newsletter in French called La Vie Matérielle, which is a material life. So you are just a kind of absolute joy to follow. And I just thought it would be nice to talk about a couple of the objects that you find interesting and things that you've dug up for us today. So let's start with your first one.
So what I dug up first, I didn't have to look very far away because that's mostly what I use every day. So it looks a bit teenager now, but it's my notebook into which I basically copy everything I find interesting and then try to find connections between those different things. For example, what you can find, I do some very lazy and not very good collaging, but you can see that it helps to draw some links between things, even though it's not aesthetically very pleasing. I'm more a UX person than a UI anyway, so I use that as an excuse to not pay attention too much to graphic design, even though I like it very much. And so I try to create, as I said, some links between, for example, what I've been reading over the past week was I've been reading an essay about sex friends and interfaces and the way our relationships basically change based on the tool we use to interact, which is, I think, particularly interesting nowadays, obviously. And I was also reading on the how do you say that, the written documents that you can use on forms when you work for your day-to-day life and work. And so this is all connected in a way to cultural, obviously, material culture. And so this is the link between everything I read. And this notebook really helps me center everything and then discover uncanny links between things and try to make things clearer, because I'm a huge fan of lists and of short quotations. So this is a really central and useful tool for me to work with.
Have you been keeping it? How long have you been keeping the book?
This book I've been keeping, it's the spring book, so I'm trying to make it last for until summer, and I usually fill books in about 2 to 3 months. So this one, I think, dates from January.
Amazing. What is your second object?
My second object is a bit more difficult to show. It's text table. So that's a 1950s table. I don't know if you can see it properly, but it's a rolling table. So you usually use it to carry, for example, things from the kitchen to the living room and be the perfect housewife. But in my house, my boyfriend does most of the cooking and I'm a terrible housewife. So I mostly use it to put my notebook, my books, and my stuff on it, and then make it travel between my home office, my living room, and my bedroom to keep working on the same things all day around.
Amazing. And what is your third object?
My third object is a bit tongue-in-cheek, but I thought of it when we talked because it's something that never entered my house and never would have before the quarantine period. So what I did right before was obviously get my hair dyed, which is something very odd for me. It was a departure from my very classic image, and did I choose the right moment for it? And so this is interesting because I bought it to try and be look perfect, even though I'm in isolation and I only see people through Zoom, which is ridiculous. And it just reminds me that even though I try to be really deconstructed, as we say, about my conceptions about gender, for example, it just reminds me that I'm not, and I remain very connected to other people in that regard, other people's outlook and their way of thinking. And also, it's a very, I think, important thing to remember that we're connected to people who have a métier, as we say in French, like they're really good mastering of their tools, and we're all just trying a shabby, very shabby compromise with that kind of bottled stuff, which really does not replace either human connection with my favorite hairdresser or her skill. So this is, I think, very exemplary of the dilemmas we all have today in confinement. So that's it. That's my pre-objects.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today. And again, you can find Tiphaine either through her newsletter, La Vie Matérielle, or Notorious Bigre, B-I-G-R-E. And so thanks.
Thank you.